Leaving the room, the man simply petted the dog. A second later he was rushing to get help. Hello. What leads all living beings of our world? It is the inclination to live. But there are situations where this desire is not enough and a miracle is needed to survive. Now I would like to share a story with you of a very strong dog named Baria. Nobody knows how and where Buddy was born. You are right on the street, or have you ever had a good house she was evicted? We only know your story from the time the poor puppy was found. It happened by complete accident. One of the volunteers leaving the store when he saw a strange creature much like a dog. After stroking, he did not lose a second and led directly to one of the centers of rescue located in Granada, Spain. The condition of the dog was so terrible that it was impossible to look at it without tears. She did not even look like a dog, but her shadow. Refuge employees did not understand how the poor animal could even be able to stand up, but it did not last long and the dog fell to the ground, unable to get up, but Rio was emaciated with this extension that could literally count all his bones or just looking at her. It was not surprising that the internal animals began to fail and that his condition deteriorated by the second. The rescue center were sure not to do anything for the body at that time and simply shrugged. However, the owner Eduardo Rodriguez does not agree with this premise, and he was not about to let the dog die. He personally supposed several rehabilitations and stood firmly that he would do something to put the dog back on his paws, and not only to get up, but to make sure that she is coming together to live fully healthy and happy. It takes Eduardo Rodriguez several months, but Baria has changed beyond recognition, and I would like to notice that Eduardo is not a veterinarian or a specialist in rehabilitation. It's just a man with a big and sweet heart. The recovery of dogs was simply overwhelming, said Rodriguez. One of the center's veterinarians said that any other dog would die with time a long time ago. But he was exhausted and hungry, and in addition to that, his organs failed. It is almost impossible to get an animal in this condition to return throughout life. Yes, it was almost impossible, but Rodriguez has always done it. His desire to live is what exactly does the miracle happen. It is thanks to your desire to survive that we are now inseparable, we continue, the new friend and the owner of the joyful and gay bar. When I saw the butter first, yes, she was exhausted, but she is still impatient to live. This when I knew I would do everything I can to make sure that the dog survives. And that's exactly what happened. It's so big when these types of stories have a happy ending. I hope Maria will have a long and happy life. What do you think about the wild dogs struggling to survive in this world? It makes us sad, and that's why we are always happy to hear about the opening of a new animal shelter that intends to take care of stray animals. We are happy for those who were able to open it and for the animals that will now have a place to look for help. Our next story is about Millie, who is literally dying of thirst. Small objects cannot be found for several days and become severely dehydrated. She was in pain and accepted her sad fate. The dog completely lost interest in life. When volunteers discovered the animal and brought the poor little thing to Victor Larkhill's new private residence, no one dared to make any predictions about it because the dog was in critical condition. The team of volunteers spare no effort to take care of the animals. Volunteer veterinarians eased the dog's pain and developed a treatment plan. It took 3 months for the dog to return to normal. But after all the suffering, Millie is so grateful to the people who saved her that she doesn't stop giving them love. The dog never forgets what his old life looked like. Ever since her miraculous recovery, she's wagging her tail unknowingly. She is happy, and she also makes her new friends happy. A family in Western Galicia volunteered to adopt Millie. One of the volunteers working on Victor's team happily agreed to take the dog to his new home. The new family has a large house and lots of land. When Millie got there, she was very excited. She was very interested in her new place and wanted to see who lived there. The family already has a dog, and the owner is worried about how the animals will get along. They worry nothing. The two dogs instantly became friends, as if an invisible thread had formed between them. The old dog helped the new kid get used to the new place. Little Millie is finally resting, and all is possible thanks to the kind people who helped her fate. Do you know how and when the first animal shelters were created? One of the first known shelters for stray dogs was established in Japan near the town of Edo, now Tokyo, in 1695. At the initiative of Shogun Tokugawa Tsuneyoshi. Known as Okabo or Dogkagan, the shelter is maintained at taxpayer expense and has 270 staff members who are said to do whatever it takes to keep the dogs happy and ensure that they don't fight each other. More than 2 hours of Confucian lectures were held for the dogs after dinner. The first animal shelters in the United States were established in the 19th century. In 1883, the Capital Area Humane Association was founded in Ohio. The main goal of the shelter is to find new owners for the homeless animals. It is run by volunteers aged 16 and over. They look after the dogs, take care of them if necessary, walk them, and watch them in their new home. In Australia, the first home for lost dogs was established in 1912 and is now the third largest shelter in the country. As in the United States, shelters are also charitable organizations in this country. They are supported by donations from ordinary citizens. There is no time for dogs to become feral here. Living on the street, it is customary to report lost animals to shelters and volunteers to pick them up immediately. Under the Domestic Animals Act 1994, owners have 8 days to reclaim a lost dog. The animal is examined by a veterinarian. If the dog has a serious incurable disease that causes him pain, he is sleeping. In Ireland, the first officially registered shelter for abandoned and starving cats was established in 1885 in Dublin. Some shelters specialize in cats or dogs of certain breeds. For example, the Golden End of the United States welcomes homeless Spaniards, while the Bearded Collie Rescue Aid helped the collies, and Spain's SOS Galgos team saved the bearded hounds. In some shelters, such as at the Canada Animal Aid Facility, it is allowed to feed the dog meat in exceptional circumstances, such as when the animal is very aggressive. And that's all for today. Share your thoughts on this video in the comments section. Love it and don't forget to share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next times.